Chalcedon was an ancient maritime town of Bithynia, in Asia Minor. It was located almost directly opposite Byzantium, south of Scutari, and it is now a district of the city of Istanbul named Kadıköy. The name Chalcedon is a variant of Chalcedon, found on all the coins of the town as well as in manuscripts of Herodotus's histories, Xenophon's Hellenica, Arrian's Anabasis, and other works. Except for a tower, almost no above-ground vestiges of the ancient city survive in Kadıköy today. Artifacts uncovered at Altıyol and other excavation sites are on display at the Istanbul Archaeological Museum. The site of Chalcedon is located on a small peninsula on the north coast of the Sea of Marmara, near the mouth of the Bosphorus. A stream, called the Chalcis or Chalcedon in antiquity and now known as the Kırbagalida, flows into Fenerbahçe Bay. There Greek colonists from Megara in Attica founded the settlement of Chalcedon in 685 BC, some 17 years before Byzantium. The Greek name of the ancient town is from its Phoenician name meaning new town, as is the name of Carthage. Prehistory. The mound of Fikirtepe has yielded remains dating to the Chalcolithic period and attest to a continuous settlement since prehistoric times. Phoenicians were active traders in this area. Pliny states that Chalcedon was first named Proserostis, a name which may be derived from a point of land near it. Then it was named Colpusa, from the form of the harbour probably, and finally Kai Korum Oppidum, or the town of the blind. Megarian colony. Chalcedon originated as a Megarian colony in 685 BCE. The colonists from Megara settled on a site that was viewed in antiquity as so obviously inferior to that visible on the opposite shore of the Bosphorus, that the 6th century BCE Persian general Megabyzus allegedly remarked that Chalcedon's founders must have been blind. Indeed, Strabo and Pliny relate that the oracle of Apollo told the Athenians and Megarians who founded Byzantium in 657 BCE to build their city, opposite to the blind, and that they interpreted the blind to mean Chalcedon, the city of the blind. Nevertheless, trade thrived in Chalcedon. The town flourished and built many temples, including one to Apollo, which had an oracle. Chalcedonia, the territory dependent upon Chalcedon, stretched up the Anatolian shore of the Bosphorus at least as far as the temple of Zeus Urius, now the site of Yoris Castle, and may have included the north shore of the Bay of Asticus which extends towards Nicomedia. Important villages in Chalcedonia included Chrysopolis and Pantikaon. Strabo notes that, a little above the sea, in Chalcedonia lies the fountain Azarisha, which contains small crocodiles. In its early history Chalcedon shared the fortunes of Byzantium. Later, the 6th century BCE Persian satrap Otanus captured it. The city vacillated for a long while between the Lacedaemonian and the Athenian interests. Darius the Great's bridge of boats, built in 512 BC for his Scythian campaign, extended from Chalcedonia to Thrace. Chalcedon formed a part of the kingdom of Bithynia, whose king Nicomedes willed Bithynia to the Romans upon his death in 74 BCE. Roman city. The city was partly destroyed by Mithridates. The governor of Bithynia, Cotta, had fled to Chalcedon for safety along with thousands of other Romans. 3,000 of them were killed, 60 ships captured, and 4 ships destroyed in Mithridates' assault on the city. During the empire, Chalcedon recovered, and was given the status of a free city. It fell under the repeated attacks of the barbarian hordes who crossed over after having ravaged Byzantium, including some referred to as Scythians who attacked during the reign of Valerian and Gallienus in the mid-3rd century. Byzantine and Ottoman suburbs. Chalcedon suffered somewhat from its proximity to the new imperial capital at Constantinople. First the Byzantines, and later the Ottoman Turks used it as a quarry for building materials for Constantinople's monumental structures. Chalcedon also fell repeatedly to armies attacking Constantinople from the east. In 361 AD it was the location of the Chalcedon tribunal, where Julian the Apostate brought his enemies to trial. In 451 AD an ecumenical council of Christian leaders convened here. See below for this Council of Chalcedon. The general Belisarius probably spent his years of retirement on his estate of Ruthenianae in Chalcedonia, beginning in 616 and for at least a decade thereafter. Chalcedon furnished an encampment to the Persians under Chosroes II. It later fell for a time to the Arabs under Yazid. Chalcedon was badly damaged during the Fourth Crusade. It came definitively under Ottoman rule under Orhan Gazi a century before the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople. Ecclesiastical History. Chalcedon was an episcopal see at an early date, and several Christian martyrs are associated with Chalcedon. The Virgin Street, Euphemia and her companions. In the early 4th century, the Cathedral of Chalcedon was consecrated to her. Saint Sabel the Persian and his companions. It was the site of various ecclesiastical councils. The Fourth Ecumenical Council, known as the Council of Chalcedon, was convened in 451 and defined the human and divine natures of Jesus, which provoked the schism with the churches composing Oriental Orthodoxy. After the council, Chalcedon became a metropolitan see, but without suffragans. There is a list of its bishops in Lycian, completed by Anthimus Alecudes, revised for the early period by Pargua. Among others are Saint Adrian, a martyr; Saint John Sts, Cosmas and Nicetas, during the iconoclastic period; Maris, the Arian; Heraclinus, who wrote against the Manichaeans in the Monophysites; Leo, persecuted by Alexius Icomenonus. Greek and Catholic successions. The Greek Orthodox Metropolitan of Chalcedon holds senior rank within the Greek Orthodox Patriarchal Synod of Constantinople. The incumbent is Metropolitan Athanasios Papas. The cathedral is that of St. Euphemia. After the Great Schism, the Latin Church retained Chalcedon as a titular see with archiepiscopal rank, with known incumbents since 1356. Among the titular bishops named to this see were William Bishop and Richard Smith, who were appointed vicars apostolic for the pastoral care of Catholics in England at a time when that country had no Catholic diocesan bishops. Such appointments ceased after the Second Vatican Council, leaving the titular see vacant since 1967. Furthermore, Chalcedon has been a titular archbishopric for two Eastern Catholic churches, dioceses: Syrian, Armenian Catholic. Notable people: Euphemia, Christian saint and martyr, patron saint of Chalcedon; Boethius, Greek sculptor; Hierophilos, Greek physician; Thales of Chalcedon, Greek statesman; Thrasymachus, Greek sophist; Xenocrates, Greek philosopher.